Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you feel like you can't get anything done? The days are going by in the calendar, the year's getting closer to the end, and you're wondering why you're still stuck in the same position. Now, every single person has a reason to why they're actually stuck. Most of them are just excuses, but I believe there's actually a few things that are currently keeping you stuck exactly where you are. These aren't the traditional things that you hear spoke about in self-improvement, but if you can get a grip on these things, then your life can begin to move forward. So these are the things that are keeping you stuck in the current position you are right now in life. The other day I was watching a documentary on the TV, The Last Dance by Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Now, when I was watching this video, what I noticed about Michael Jordan is he was quite an arrogant player on the outside. He always expected the best results from his teammate because he produced the best results. He was never willing to wait for anybody else. He always wanted people to keep up with his speed in the game. And he had this sort of standard for himself and everybody around him. Now, a lot of the times we struggle with the word humility. Because on one side, we need to have a self-belief that basically allows us to basically pursue the dreams that we have for our lives. But on the other end, we're being told by people we need to be humble in this pursuit. I'm actually here to say something controversial. I actually believe Michael Jordan is more humble than the average person out there in the world, including me, including you watching this video. What's very interesting is Michael Jordan, similar to some of the athletes that we've seen, he's very relentless in his pursuit for greatness. If you've read the book Relentless by Tim Grover, you know what I'm talking about. He has a standard that's higher than everyone in pretty much everything, from his diet to his sleeping patterns, and he doesn't compromise for any single person in his life. This is why he's able to perform at the elite level that he's able to perform at. It's because he has this relentless work ethic. However, it's very interesting because when you get interviews from Michael Jordan's coaches, the people that were training him, the nutritionists, the people that were in the gym with him shooting hoops, making sure that he gets points, making sure that he stays in top physical condition, these people described him as someone that was able to follow instructions, as long as those instructions produced results. He was always seeking for that little bit of information that was going to make his game that much tighter in every single game. And when he got a coach that could help him produce those results, he would listen to this coach thoroughly. Now, I want you guys to think of yourself or the average person that you come across. On the exterior, these people come across like very humble people because, of course, if you ask them what they do, they're not very arrogant in the way they describe themselves. They're humble in the sense that they're pretty down to earth. You can have a conversation with them. They're not holding you to a standard. And when you speak to them on the exterior, you think to yourself, this is a very down to earth human being. If you was to give that person some sort of friendly advice on an area of their life that you've noticed they're inadequate in, they're not producing the results they could be producing. Maybe there's somebody that doesn't seem to be consistent in anything that they do. They have dreams, but they don't follow up on them. They're very impatient. They expect results every single day in that moment right now, and they don't have the ability to just let time be time and wait it out. When you get in a position where you try to give this person advice, what's usually their reaction? It's not really a positive reaction when you give them instructions or some sort of advice that could best benefit them. They usually have some sort of resistance to whatever you're trying to explain to them. And this, to me, is the arrogance that we don't see in most people. See, somebody who's able to seek mentors, to look for advice, understand that they don't have all the answers to life, whether it's in their health, their wealth, their fitness, whatever it is. These are the people that basically have humility on the internal, not the external. And this is what I believe is true humility. The ability to sit there and say, do you know what? I don't necessarily have all the answers. I come across like I do, but I actually don't. So I'm going to seek people who can teach me a lot better. And not only that, I'm going to listen to whatever they say if they have the sort of results that I want to produce in my life. When I got into self-improvement, I sort of was looking at the gurus online because let's face it, apart from books, and the people online making content like myself and others, there's not really many people that are going to give you advice on how to improve your life or give you lessons which they had to extract from experiences in their life. And a lot of the times these people online have courses. I don't have a course yet, but these people always have something to sell you which could potentially move you forward. When I was younger, I had a lot of resistance towards that. I felt this person's just selling this thing so that they can make money and profit from it. And that's really, I'm not going to gain anything from it. At the time when I used to think like this, I never saw this as arrogant. Now that I've got hindsight, I can see this was the most arrogant thinking that I had at the time. See, if you're the sort of person where you're not actively seeking advice to basically improve your life, then clearly you believe that you've got all your eggs in a row. And if that's the case, then you shouldn't be somebody that has anything to complain about, because your life is exactly how you want it to be. If you're like me, you're an ambitious person, you have bigger dreams for yourself than your current situation that you're in, you understand that you do need to actually seek out mentors and people who know much better than you in order to actually move your life forward. You need to be like Michael Jordan. It is better for you to be cocky, arrogant on the external, but make sure that on the internal, when somebody's giving you a piece of advice that's useful, that you actually take it in. And the first thing that you guys are doing, which is keeping you stuck, is basically you're failing to have the real humility, which is the humility that's internal. The second thing that's keeping you stuck, this one I struggled with for many years. And if you're something like me, it's probably a blind spot of yours which you don't actually see in your life. See, I've always considered myself a logical person. So whether I have a problem in front of me, or I see somebody else's problem which they're trying to address, which they're explaining to me, what I try to do is I try to give them the best advice which I believe is logical for the solution that they might be looking for. So one thing that I had is I would always find myself in situations where friends, family members, or whoever it is giving me a ring or speaking to me about a problem in their life. And as a man, naturally, we have this thing where we like to be fixers. We seem to hear problems and we think that we can fix the problems in people's lives. So what do? We start to give them advice which we would want to hear if we was in their particular situation. But something that I wasted doing for 5 to 10 years of my life is I realized that a lot of people are not actually looking for advice when they're basically venting out their problems to you. They're just using you as a channel to vent their problems and their frustrations because they need to get it out. Now I want you to ask yourself, are you the same? It might not catch you off straight away, but the conversations you have with your friends, is there any objective productivity to those conversations? When you come with a problem or they come with a problem, your friend, your family member, your significant other, by the end of the conversation, is there a solution to that particular thing, or are they using you as an emotional sponge to soak up their problems and take on their insecurities and anything else that they're going through at that time and moment? See, if you don't have a boundary to your time, to your energy, to what you've got going on in your life, people unconsciously, or even sometimes consciously, will disrespect that boundary without you even seeing it. And this is something that kept me stuck for a very long time in my life. See, I was taking on other people's problems, failing to address the problems that were in my life. Think about yourself. Have you got a significant other? Maybe that significant other has a group of problems that they're going through in their life. And of course, as a good significant other yourself, you want to be the sort of person that is a listening ear, who's going to help them in their time of need. But see, there's a fine line to where you're helping them progress in their life, or to where you're just allowing them to just vent their problems to you and not actually solve anything. See, every single person is on their own journey, and it's up to them to find out the solutions for themselves, because a lot of the times people don't actually listen to the advice they get from other people. They learn from experience, and that's the sad thing. I remember when I was younger, my mom always used to give me certain advice about decisions I was making in my life, friends I was associating myself with, but I would never really listen to this stuff. I would always have to extract the lessons for myself through experience. Betrayed by a friend because I ignored the early signs and red flags, or a significant other. Found myself making bad financial decisions because I got a hit of dopamine and I thought I could get rich quickly with whatever scheme that was being sold to me at the time, losing hundreds, even thousands of pounds on these schemes. I personally know for a fact now, being 31 years old, the best way for you to be useful to somebody is not by just allowing them to vent their problems to you, or you venting your problems to them. It's by you becoming a strong person, an example of who they can be. Leading by example is the ultimate way for you to actually gain the respect of these people. Anything else is just a waste of time. So the second thing that's keeping you stuck is your failure to set a boundary on your time, your energy, and what you've got going on in your life. The third and final thing that's keeping you stuck in the current situation you're in is your failure to keep learning. Now, I would consider myself one of those people that indulges in self-improvement content. Everything from health, wealth, social life, relationships, etc. I've been watching this content for many years. But that's the exact problem. A lot of the content I was watching, I wasn't applying it to my life. What I was doing is I would watch a video to get a dopamine hit. Was I learning anything? Was I actually extracting the lessons and basically allowing it to transform who I am as a person? No. My mindset wasn't changing. I wanted to watch other people win rather than seeing myself win. And this is what you're doing when you're watching content, but you don't actually take the lessons from them and pull them into your life. So you might be watching a video like this and you've got to this point in the video where you understand this lesson that you need to keep learning. You need to keep learning and taking action. Basically, get the information, then implement it into your life. And you might say that I've already heard this. But every single time that you watch a video like this, it's not necessarily because it's a new piece of information that you need to hear. It's a reminder of where you need to go. Now, when I watch self-improvement, I watch a lot of the same messages. I bring them into my mind every single day because what I'm trying to do is create an environment mentally that's going to keep me on track with the goals that I'm headed towards. See, people get a piece of information, thumbs up, and then they stop. That's it. They no longer watch videos. They think they've got it. And then guess what? Because we're human beings and we're very forgetful people, what ends up is you go back to the default setting which you're in prior to you watching that video, which is the bad habits you've got. Whenever you put yourself in a position where you're constantly learning, what you're going to do is you're constantly going to remind yourself of where you need to go in life. You're constantly developing your ability to lateral think, your ability to learn, because you're going to learn it in so many different perspectives. And eventually, if you actually learn that information and begin to implement it, that's when you see the change in your life. The results you want isn't a result of what you do, but who you become. And in order to become somebody different, you need to change a whole range of aspects in your life, from your environment, influences, your own beliefs, your mindset. As much as it is a cliche, it's the truth. You need to focus on the road that you need to go down in order to get better at what you're doing. These, I believe, are the three things keeping most people stuck. People have a lack of humility. People don't have boundaries on the people they allow into their lives. And people fail to keep learning, keep reminding themselves of what they need to do. I'm going to keep this one short as well, guys. Tell me what you got from this video. I've got more videos that help you guys become the sort of person that you've dreamed you can be. In order to do that, we need to start off with the way you think. I've got a playlist below. If you click below, you're going to see a range of videos I've got on the similar subjects. Different angles, different perspectives, exactly what I'm trying to help you do. Keep learning. Keep putting new information into your mind so that you can develop your character. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. My name's Tino, and I'll see you in the next one.